Welcome to Lost Bowl Online. I'm Pastor Paz. Here to speak to you today, real quick. It's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there, or going to be fathers out there. I wanted to talk real quick. I read an article this morning about the planet Nibiru, right? The Planet X, the Mayan calendar, worried about a planet approaching. And what does that have to do with climate change? Well, there's two thoughts here, okay? And we're going to talk just a little about the two thoughts and why it doesn't matter either way, what you should be doing and what we should all be doing anyway. And the first thing is climate change. You know, we are having a climate change. We are seeing a significant difference in our climate. People are trying to explain this away. They try to explain it away saying it's the sun or it can't be human. It happens this way every few thousand years, or we're ready for an ice age. And that's all bunk. First of all, if the sun is affecting us, sure, it affects us, and its strength affects us, but it's what we put in our atmosphere that affects what's inside the fishbowl, which is us. And our CO2 content is going through the roof with methane and all this other stuff. And so the obvious thing here is, and there's no doubt that we contribute to it, the climate change, is that we burn fossil fuels and we pump stuff into the atmosphere constantly. And if you don't believe that, please just stick your mouth on a tailpipe and just go ahead and inhale, because you'll get it over with quick and everybody won't have to listen to you lie about it, because it's exactly what's happening. You are breathing in all that stuff that's coming out of tailpipes. Now, it's a big globe, and you think, well, you know what? How do we affect all of that? Well, we do affect that because the Earth is patchy. It's not like it just spreads evenly around the globe and that it all sinks down and what's left of the trees that we haven't cut down absorbs all that stuff, or the oceans. So it makes changes. We are actually making changes. And we need to accept that. And so that's, the theory. And there, like I said, there's other theories out there, but there's one theory that we don't talk much about, and is the Nibiru thing real? Could it be that there's a planet approaching, or a large celestial body approaching us from out in the deep space that we haven't seen or we haven't been told about even? You can't trust the government to tell the people. What if you told 7 billion people that the end of the world, or that there's going to be a huge planet coming by us and it's going to make destruction and things happen? And what do you think people would do? They would just drop everything. Many people would commit suicide. Others would go on a rampage and try to steal as much stuff as they could. People wouldn't go to work. Nobody would grow anything. They'd hoard stuff. Nobody would go and make toilet paper anymore. They just wouldn't do it. They'd just try to haul out all they could and put it away. And everybody would duck down, and it would be mass hysteria long before the actual event and the things that would happen after the event. This is things we think that this would be an event where it would cause people to go crazy, right? Because it would be the end of the world. So we always predict the event would happen, because that's what you always see, the zombie thing, or you see the earthquake, and everybody rushes afterwards to go get stuff. And it's only when they have advance warning that they actually go and get stuff, like when there's a large storm coming. Oh, there's going to be a huge snowstorm, we predict this. And everybody goes and buys stuff from the grocery store, and they bring it home to sit it out a couple days. Well, if you told them that, in the next 2 years, we expect this thing to come by, for 2 years there would be hoarding, people wouldn't be doing anything. They'd be digging holes all over the place, trying to find themselves something to go. And in that time, there would be a scarcity of everything. And that's when you would see groups of people running around long before the event ever happened. And the event would hit, and then it would be 10 times worse after, because those people that thought that they could hide can't. And the same thing is happening today. Even if we didn't have that funny little planet coming at us, if there were a planet, and I'm not saying there is, then we would be like, hey, well, maybe this is all going to happen because there's going to be drought, right? So there's going to be a scarcity of food. Excuse me, I got dry. So that being said, we have two scenarios. We have a man-made climate change that is out of control, and that we have to change it in one way or another, or we have something coming at us at whatever 200-300 kilometers per second, and we don't have any choice in the matter. There's nothing we can do about it except to try and sit it out and wait. But I want to talk about real quick that, hey, either way, we should have changed our attitude toward life on this planet and our dependency, right? Again, we have the opportunity. Most people all over the world have the opportunity, even if you live in a city or you live in a apartment building, to produce your own food, right? Grow your own food, produce your own electricity, produce the fuel that you need, the electricity, to put in your electric car to get you where you need to go, putting in that infrastructure, which would cost less, and it would give you a lot more independence, right? So you would be better off. You'd be better off buying a greenhouse for your backyard than you would an AK-47, right? Because you can't fight off everybody, but you know what? If you feed people, they're more willing to help you out. And when they realize that they can help you out by growing their food and your food and using solar energy or wind energy that is free, that doesn't cost them anything, that they just have to maintain it, well, heck, that's a lot better off, and it's cheaper. If you produce your own electricity, if you use LED lighting at your own house, at your apartment, it brings down your cost. Right now, it brings down your cost if you just do it, right? And you're independent. You say, well, man, it's expensive to put in solar. It's not expensive when your power goes out, right? Or the fact that when finally the economy comes around and says, look, we've had an artificial economy because they rigged the system with the dollar, and once we can't rig it anymore, which we're getting close to, we're going to have to just lay it out there, and gas prices are going to go through the roof. They'll be $8 a gallon. And we can't help that. That's what it's going to be, because really everybody out there, because we use the dollar as our reserve currency, our gas is cheap here in the United States. But it won't be once they figure out we can't make any more money, so we're just going to have to, the gig is up. So gas is going to go to $8 a gallon because China will take over the reserve currency, and we'll be like, oh man. And China will grow and we will not. But if you have an electric car and you produce your own energy, guess what? You can energize your own car and go and do the things you need to do. And that will be hundreds of times cheaper than if you bought gas, because the gas is going to be going through the roof. And home energy, just home energy in general. Not to mention the environmental damage. And I'm not talking about the climate. I'm talking about on the ground. The digging, the pushing the bad water back in there, and saying that it won't affect anything. One good earthquake, and it could open a big old fissure to the biggest aquifer in the United States, and it could get pumped full of all these benzenes and mercuries and all this other junk that's stuck in these gas wells. Will be right there in that water. and you will end up paying to have somebody filter it for you, and it'll be the companies that put that stuff in the ground in the first place. Why? Because they get the money to put that stuff out there, and then they make you pay for that too. So when you thought you were getting cheap gas, right? Eventually it's going to cost you. There's no free lunch, and there's no cheap gas. It affects something somewhere else, and it does the damage. So put that all behind you. But what I wanted to say was, look, you got to start being self-reliant. Grow something. Get some solar panels. If anything, use a few solar panels here and there. Create yourself a solar furnace out of cans and use that to heat your house. Cooling. Dig a hole. You know, in my house, I've got a deep basement, so it's 8 feet plus deep. So I can put a fan at the head of the stairs, and it's 60 degrees year round. I just pump that air through a fan instead of using my air conditioner. And you can do a lot of those same things too if you have a hole in the ground, right? If you have a hole in the ground where it's cool all year round, yeah, that's the way to go. Okay, you can pump that air up, and you can warm that air quickly if you have to because you're underground. I mean, we live above ground. Yeah, it's okay. It's cheaper than digging a hole and putting cement and, you know, whatever the case may be, and it's more attractive looking, but it's not very efficient. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about the differences, that there may actually be something coming at us, and that would explain the rise in the earthquakes and the volcanoes, and those could also be explained by climate change. So it's a coin toss, but either way, you want to be ready for whatever's going to come our way. So maybe it's time that you start looking at, hey, I'm getting rid of this stuff. I'm going to go get my job. I'm going to take a certain amount of that money, and I'm going to put it away, and I'm going to put it into something like solar panels. I'm just going to go to Harbor Freight. I'm going to buy some solar panels. I'm going to put them in my shed out back, and then I'm going to use that. And then I'm going to buy some more solar panels, and I'm going to put those up. And I'm going to put some more solar panels, and I'm going to buy and put those up. And I'm going to put a little wind turbine up that only puts out 400 watts. But with my battery bank, you know what? At night, I don't need much power, and I can support myself. I don't even have to use anything. They're always talking about net metering. Put it on the grid. Your excess power, put it on the grid. Why not just use it? Why not live that way? Still be attached to the grid. There'll be times when you might need it, but why would you do that? You know, support yourself. Learn how to do that. And then, you know what? Maybe down the line your neighbors will do the same, and you'll be like, hey, you know what? If we shared our power, when you guys need more power, you can use it because we'll have excess power, and then you will do the same, right? Until everybody in their neighborhood goes, wow, we're not paying for power anymore. Everybody's got an electric car, and we're all doing really, really well by ourselves. And the only thing we're doing is we're buying, soap at the store. Well, which we could probably make ourselves. Let's just use something else. We're buying plastic toys from the store. And so somebody's got a job making plastic toys. It might be you, might be somebody else, but you can be so much more self-sufficient. And then, you never know. If this thing is actually coming toward us, it could be a bad thing. If we continue down the road with climate change and fossil fuels, yeah, it can be a bad thing. So we need to focus on that. We need to focus on each other. It's about the human, stupid. And if we don't take care of ourselves, it'll happen now. It's accelerating past the point of real return. It's happening now. It's not just going to happen 100 years from now. Or when you think you'll be dead and gone, you're going to suffer right now. So this is Pastor Paz. You guys have a great Father's Day. And stay out of the heat. It is nasty all over the world right now. And part of the Lost Bull Network. So take it easy. Thanks and goodbye.